Hello, good evening, and welcome to One Life Left, Britain's favourite radio show about video games. I'm Steve Curran.
I'm Anne Scantlebury.
And I'm Simon Byron.
Oh, it's so good to be back, guys. What a time we had in Nottingham Game City.
Although, Simon, it sounds a little bit as though you've caught a cold,
A little bit hoarse,
maybe.
Simon.
A little bit hoarse.
Well, when you work as hard as I do and you see so many things and you're so super cool, sometimes it just happens, doesn't it?
I understand. I mean, we did have a great time. We were singing a lot at Nottingham Game City, weren't we?
Singing a lot
Brilliant.
at Nottingham.
One Death Left, our Wink Murder conspiratorial event. That went well.
Went really well. A lot of deaths. I'm sure we'll talk about that more later.
We certainly will. How's your week been otherwise, Anne?
It's been utterly depressing.
Really?
Not being in Nottingham has been the worst. Let's go back.
We can't go back. We're not allowed. Not after what happened last time.
Oh, fair enough. How about you, Steve? How's your week been?
It's been good. It's been good. I've been on the Kickstarter thing. My Kickstarter launched last Wednesday following Hot in the Heels of Simon's.
Yeah.
We'll talk more about that later.
Very
on the
pleased
show.
with how my Kickstarter's gone, actually. I'm delighted. A lot of support, fantastic community. They've been great.
Yeah, Greedy Wizards.
Yeah,
it's
I'm
gone
really pleased with Greedy
ballistic,
Wizards. Yes, it has. Yeah,
Can you
yeah,
give us
yeah.
any inside information on Greedy Wizards then, Simon?
Yeah, well, it involves wizards that are greedy.
Hold
It's
on a
fantastic.
second.
You know, really terrific.
What's Greedy Wizards about? I don't know. Something doesn't feel right here.
Something feels off in the studio.
Wait a second. You're not Simon Barron.
Oh, I wish I was, though. I admire him so much. I just thought I'd sneak in and just try and be Simon just for a few minutes.
Who are you? What's going on here?
Okay, I have to admit it. My name is Charles Cecil. I am one of the founders of Revolution Software, and I've admired all this show for so long. I've appeared many times, but never come to your studios. I'm so proud to finally be here. I'm sorry that this charade has finally
Charles,
been
you
blown.
didn't have to do this. You didn't have to sneak on.
Well, I'm sorry. I just thought it was the only way you'd invite me on, because I keep inviting myself, and I never get, I never get offered.
Just
a place.
turn up.
Unfortunately, Simon can't be with us today because of the storm.
Yeah,
Is that the real reason?
That is the real reason.
He
That's what
says there
happened.
was a tree across the track, but he's coming from Hitchin and I came from York, so
I mean,
York is
who's
a
got
lot
the
further.
dedication? Maybe this is a good time to realise who truly wants to be here, and maybe do a permanent swap out.
But the thing is, Charles, you're not the person in this studio who's come from furthest away. You can boast about coming from York, but actually we've got a super, super special guest in Steve Gaynor. Hello, Steve.
Hey, how's it going?
Hello, where have you come from?
The United States of America.
Another one from across there.
Imagine.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to show you up, Charles. It wasn't on purpose.
And you were at Nottingham Game City too.
I was. That was my excuse for coming across the pond.
So we've poached you for our show.
What, from Nottingham?
Yeah, sort of.
I was going to stay there, but you convinced me.
We have a share and share alike deal, don't we, with those
We
guys?
really do.
We gave them Martin Hollis, and we're still apologising.
Yeah.
I have to apologise for this too. We should get on with this, really, shouldn't we? Because two guests. We should
Got a
get
lot
on
to
with
get through.
the news. Anne, get ready, go.
It's 7:04 on Monday the 28th of October. I'm Anne Scantlebury and this is the news. Dark Matter has been pulled from Steam following complaints from players about the ending. Angry feedback came after players came to a to-be-continued ending a few hours into play. Some felt that they were misled into thinking they were getting a full game. Publisher Iceberg explained that when the game was not funded through Kickstarter, it became episodic, with future episodes relying on the success of the first. A note on Steam now reads, Currently, there is a known issue at the end of the game. The developer is aware of the issue and they are working on a patch.
A known issue. That story started more interesting than it ended up. Dark Matter has been pulled from Steam. But it turns out it's more players getting whiny about a narrative, isn't it? That's not on.
It makes sense when you realise, I think, about the Kickstarter thing. They expected that they were going to have, well, they hoped to have some money, then they didn't have the money. So they changed how they were going to release the game, doing it in smaller chunks and then hopefully getting money from the first to fund the second. That makes sense to me, but maybe they should have just been a little bit more clear.
I see.
In how they communicated
Who
that.
should be in charge of the way a game story ends, the player or the creator? Steve.
Depends where you work. The publisher sometimes. It is a little weird when players think they know the ending better than the people who made the game. But on the other hand, maybe a surprise to be continued screen doesn't even count as an ending necessarily.
This happens in other media, though, doesn't it? You can watch a movie and be disappointed that it's clearly setting itself up for a sequel.
Or you can be watching a series and the last episode is very much, don't worry, just tune in for the next episode. It's a good thing, isn't it?
Or a book.
You did say a couple of hours, that's the only thing.
Yeah.
And a couple of hours really isn't quite long enough.
Really?
How
is that
long
what
is
we're
long
doing
enough?
now, Charles? We're setting definitive limits on how long a video game should be.
How long should a video game be?
Interesting.
Well, it depends on the type of game, of course. But if you set it up as a full episode, I think probably a couple of hours is a bit short.
Okay, Charles has spoken.
And people were paying £10.50 for this. How much time does £10.50 equate to?
Surely it's not time, it's joy. If that 2 hours is perfect, then that's enough.
10 minutes? Good news for people who like to walk around naked. Peripherals manufacturer PDP is making a TV mount for Xbox One's Kinect sensor that will come with a privacy cover. The privacy cover is for use on the Kinect and not on your bits. It will cover both RGB and infrared cameras to keep your secrets secret. Microsoft has stated that the Kinect will not be used to spy on you. Screw you, the NSA, no matter how hard you try, you're never going to get a peep at this naked cocktail hour.
So, what? So, wait a second, this is a piece of plastic that goes over the top of the camera.
Yeah.
Steve, you're missing the point.
Okay.
Naked cocktail hour?
Has nobody told you how the show goes?
Sorry, we briefed him before we missed out the naked cocktail hour.
So basically every 10 minutes you take off an item of clothes and another drink comes out.
Wow.
So listeners, if you want to tell Steve what item of clothing to take off, email
team@onelifeleft.com.
So, but seriously, Anne, this is a single piece of plastic that's designed to just go in front of the camera.
Brilliant, isn't it?
You've fallen for this one, haven't you?
You could just use a post-it note.
You could.
Two post-it notes? One post-it note. I don't know how big it's going to have to be.
Presumably you weren't the only one who fell for this, though, because you must have taken your news from somewhere.
Yeah, I took it from Eurogamer. They fell for it too.
Okay.
Eurogamer reporting on bits of plastic now.
Interesting. Are you fearful of the Kinect's privacy implications, Charles? Obviously not. You're chuckling at them.
Google Glass, I think, really is very interesting, isn't it? Ooh. Wow. I mean, there's been this sort of furore about the Americans spying, with respect, of course. The Americans spying on all the Europeans. But then Google Glass blows all of that just out of the water, doesn't it? The idea that actually, because we've seen from Street View and everything, that they're very happy to photograph everything. And everyone's wandering around wearing glasses. They can see what's happening.
As an American, I can't wait.
Nintendo is working on a 3DS Pokemon game that will let Pikachu mimic your facial expressions. Video footage of your face is captured by the internal 3DS camera and is translated onto a 3D model of your head. The movements are then applied to a 3D in-game model of Pikachu. More information on the game is expected soon from a TV interview with Pokemon Company's president. It seems very important not to play this game while you're feeling low. Nobody wants to see Pikachu cry.
Doesn't sound like a game. I mean, I'm not defining what a game is.
Kind of are.
Doesn't sound like a game.
But what if that's part of the... That's not the only bit of the game. It feels like that's a mechanism within the game.
Steve, what's the rest of the game?
The Pokemon game?
Yep. Just give us an exclusive. It's all right, no one's listening.
I'm going to make a big confession right here.
Okay.
I've never played Pokemon, so I literally have no idea.
What?
I assume, I don't know, you put things into balls and throw them at each other?
That
Is how
catch 'em all.
Pokemon
Okay.
Yep, catch them all.
So you'll catch your own face in a ball.
There we go. Interesting.
Doesn't that sound amazing.
Get your money out.
Interesting.
Pre-order.
So this is another sort of Connecty gimmick, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's quite exciting.
Well, you're obviously excited. You put it as third story in the news.
Yeah, I want to be in a game.
Okay.
This is how I can be in a game. My own little
You can
game.
already be in a game.
How?
Well, you could be in the 3DS Face Raiders, where you take a selfie of yourself and shoot yourself in the face.
Yeah, but I want to be consistently in a Pokemon game.
Okay. So,
Getting more specific.
So do we have any friends at... Well, clearly not you, because you've never played it. But do we have any friends at Pokemon who could put you consistently in it?
Do the joke.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I love that.
Okay, this is good. You've heard it, haven't you?
Yes.
Okay. Actually, if you've heard it, maybe you should tell Steve the joke.
Okay. What do you not want your Pokemon to do when you're having a shower?
So many potential answers.
Pikachu.
Oh!
No.
That's not even the joke.
No, the other one.
Sorry.
It's how do you get...
I laughed anyway.
Here we go.
How do you get hundreds of Pikachu onto a bus? Pokemon. Is that the one?
That's the one, Charles.
Oh, right.
That's it, Charles. Great delivery. Incredible news for popular people. Both Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 will support 8-player chat at launch. Both consoles will have out-of-the-box headsets that can be used straight away, but players with a PS3 Bluetooth headset will have to wait for a post-launch patch to get some deep group philosophical debate. One Life Left plans on taking full advantage of this feature by wearing 2 or 3 headsets each to create the full surround sound experience for each other.
I'm not wearing any headsets.
Why
I don't want
not?
to talk to anybody who
You
plays
look
video
like
games.
Britney.
I just don't want to do it.
You're on the wrong radio show, my friend.
He'll look like Britney.
Yeah, if you put a headset on.
We did do that at Nottingham Game City, didn't we? With
Yeah.
all headsets, and I did feel a bit oops.
He'll look like Britney.
Stop it, Charles. It's not naked cocktail hour yet. So, well, this is exciting, isn't it? It means we can all talk to each other while we're blowing each other up on Grand Theft Auto, and
8
people can be
people,
mean to us. 8 people, is that what's got you interested in?
Yeah.
Why is 8 the magic number?
Because when I was younger, I used to do group phone calls. So you'd call one friend. It became really expensive for our parents. You'd call one friend, and then you'd dial in another friend, and then they'd dial in another friend.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we got it up to about 4 or 5, but it became very confusing very, very quickly. Everyone chatting away, couldn't hear anyone else, speaking over each other, almost like this show.
Okay.
I just worry for the quality of communication.
Interesting.
And finally, friend of the show Mike Bithell has unveiled details of his next game. Announced at Nottingham Castle as part of Nottingham Game City, Volume will retell the Robin Hood story set in the near future. It'll be voiced by Thomas Was Alone narrator Danny Wallace and YouTube dude Charlie McDonnell. Mike kindly made his announcement as a warm-up to the One Life Left party, which goes some way to explaining why people kept stealing from each other. Thanks, Mike.
You know what?
What?
That reminded me of something that happened at the party. So, Bithell, who, let's
that
not
guy.
forget, we made.
Yeah, and he knows this now.
Steve, you might not know this, but Bithell, he was on this show before he was a deal.
You computer generated him. I haven't seen him in person. I have to.
We
I have to
computer
take your word
generated
for
his
him.
success. He was on the show when he was a deal, he was on the show when he was becoming a deal, and he was on the show after he was a deal. Which is great, because we couldn't be happier for him, could we?
You sound overjoyed.
No, we are absolutely delighted. So,
Just a font of human kindness.
so Bithell, or as we call him, Bithers, Bithers turned up for the One Life Left party. He was overjoyed. He just organised, just announced the plot for his game, which sounds excellent.
Sounds great.
Game called Volume. Right. That's important to the next bit of the story. He did some One Life Left video game karaoke at Nottingham.
He did.
He performed Journey, Don't Stop Believing, which we, or actually Lee Alexander, had rewritten to be about Journey, the video game. Very good. Don't Stop Believing, games can give us feelings. Right, so Bithell was stepping up to do this, and I had the mic and I was introducing him, the proper comparing stuff that I've learnt from when we did stand-up comedy. Applaud him all the way to the mic. Come on, it's Mike Bithell. He's your hero. We made him. And then I thought of a joke.
Oh!
I turned to him, I said, "Hey, Mike, what's your volume?"
Oh, Steve,
Come
you are
on.
a genius. That's fabulous.
Don't encourage him.
That is a rigorously constructed joke. It is flawless.
Totally works, Steve. It totally works.
And just something. Is the Pokemon joke better than that? It is, isn't it?
Yeah, but the Pokemon joke is canon. This was improvised, right? Mind your volume. What's your volume, Mike? Nothing. Not a glimmer. Audience, silence.
No.
I know.
Oh, Steve.
Anyway.
Other than that, it went quite well.
Yeah, so what's the internet reaction been to Mike's announcement?
Positive. Isn't everything he does just generally received quite well because he's a nice guy?
Yeah, because he's a nice guy and we set him up for that success. So.
And also, he's quite smart. He comes out with the goods, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. He does. So you two, play your cards right, and you could be the next Bithers.
That's what we're hoping.
Thanks, Anne.
One Life Left video game news with Anne Scantlebury.
You're listening to One Life Left on Resonance 104.4 FM. We're a video game radio show. I'm Steve Curran.
I'm Anne Scantlebury.
And I'm pretending to be Simon Byron.
No, you're not anymore, Charles.
Oh, sorry, I'm Charles Cecil.
That ruse is over. We did have a lovely time in Nottingham, though, didn't we?
We really, really did have a lovely time. And someone else who we hope had a lovely time, Steve.
Hi.
Did you come over just for Nottingham?
I came over. Nottingham was my excuse to come over. It was my my reason. It was my motivation, let's say, to be over here on this side of the world. And I did have a lovely time, to confirm your question.
How long were you up there for?
Just a couple of days. I came in the middle of the festival.
Yeah.
Because we were working on some post-release stuff for our game right before I came out. But I'd never been to Nottingham before. Very lovely city. I had a nice time.
It's a lovely city, isn't it?
We've had a nice time there as well, haven't we?
Consistently nice times there. So you did some talks in Nottingham as well.
Yeah.
What were those talks about?
Well, I made a game called Gone Home, and that came out just a couple months ago, and luckily, people seemed to like it. So the GameCity organizers asked me to come out and talk about the making of the game and the story behind it and stuff.
So can you give us a summary of the game and also the talks for anyone who was unable to make it up to Nottingham?
So Gone Home is it's an exploration video game. I worked on the BioShock series for a bunch of years, and then I quit and I started my own company. And Gone Home is a story exploration game. It's about exploring a house that this family lived in, but they're not there, and you're trying to figure out where everybody went. So you explore this house to find out who this family is by what they left behind, notes and the stuff that is in the drawers and cupboards and everything. And yeah, for the gaming inclined, it is sort of like BioShock without any shooting in it.
What happens in the end?
You got to pay your quid and spend your couple hours and find out.
No, really, what does happen at the end?
Not even for you, Anne Scantlebury.
So So you said that it's an exploration game. I've played it, although I haven't finished it yet, because for me, I spend so much time. I took a while going around, and then I realised how to crouch. And then I went.
You should be aware, Steve, that Anne's favourite bit of video games, famously, is going
Crouching.
around. No, she loves going around. Any game that lets you go around, that's the game for her.
Well, lucky for you, that's all you can do in our game.
Exactly. So I'm really enjoying it, and I'm still playing it. But yeah, so I've found out that I could crouch and explore a whole other
that
level.
changed everything.
A whole other level of
Crouching
the game.
around
A whole
is
other
just
altitude.
So people can get really, really drawn into just picking up loads and loads of different items, which may or may not have significance to the narrative as a whole. Do you want people to come away with a strong feeling of narrative or a strong feeling of the experience of playing?
I just want to feel like you've looked at so many Kleenex boxes. It's so fulfilling for you. I mean, the idea, at least from my point of view, is that you uncover the story through that exploratory experience. Like you investigate to kind of put the pieces of the story back together. So I hope that they're really closely entwined. Because you're like very actively digging out the story from the environment through the gameplay.
Charles, clearly, like in the sort of games that you have always made, there's a lot of extraneous narrative as well as a narrative that is important for the player to consume. How do you decide what the right balance is?
Well, Steve, with a brilliant bit of engineering here, I'm actually going to go back to one of your earlier questions about who should write the story. And Steve, sorry. Perhaps you would agree, perhaps you would disagree, that actually what you want to do in many of these narrative games is feel that you're within. You're under the guidance of a storyteller, but you're telling the story in your own way, and that you're going to discover things that other people wouldn't do, so that it is a unique experience.
Yeah.
I've read all about your game. I haven't played it. I'm really sorry. I wish I'd known about it now. I would have done. But it sounds fascinating. It comes from a long line. I mean, Seventh Guest sounded, in the idea you go back into an empty place and you discover all of these new things. And I don't know what the gameplay is, but
no ghosts. That's one difference. There's no
ghosts,
FMV.
But that kind of idea. But the wonderful thing is that people are very dismissive about the narrative in video games. But actually, we take it desperately seriously. And after many, many years, I think there are certain rules that actually, or certainly constraints that we have that the linear medium don't have. Mm-hmm. And the key one actually is the empathy that you build with a character, because in a film people sit back and they're very happy. Steve, you're looking at the clock. Am I getting dull?
Not at all.
Okay.
I just have to do that.
All right. In a film, people sit back and they're very happy for the exposition to wash over them. But obviously, in a game, when you're actually active, you need to pretty much immediately know why you're working, what you're trying to achieve, and it becomes hopefully very skillful. And what I think is quite interesting is that these great directors who came in over the last few years, whether it be Peter Jackson or George Lucas, and actually they haven't created the great epics that that everybody thought that they would, because Spielberg, wasn't it? It wasn't Lucas, I beg his pardon. So Steven Spielberg, who clearly is a genius, these people have come in and they haven't written their opus magni that they were expected to, and I think it is a great skill, and I think people are beginning to realise that actually writing stories for video games is a unique skill, and it's something that we happen to do and we take very seriously and we're very proud of.
I think there's you brought up Seventh Guest as a reference point there, and there's games that from that era like Myst, which at the time were destroyed by the gaming community in a way that some of the hardcore gamers are sort of criticising the genre within which you're working and saying this isn't a game, but actually those games now are being reevaluated and saying Myst is obviously such a hugely important game to a lot of people making games today.
I think that what you brought up about the fact that it's player driven, right? That the involvement with the story unfolding is completely unique to the medium, and I think that it's what is maybe the difference in philosophy between, like you were saying, a film director who their job is to be their craft is putting things in a very precise order. I think as a game designer, your craft is to arrange things strategically, knowing that the player might interact with this, that, or the other in any order, and that they need to be able to take a satisfying experience away from that. And a game is something that requires that involvement by the player,
Interactivity.
to pull the meaning out of it by being active in the experience.
And, film directors can get away with going in the order that suits them. Whereas clearly what we've got to do is we've got to allow the player to go in any order, which in some ways waters down the experience because we can't create the same level of drama in such a staged way. But it also gives us the huge benefit that it's an interactive experience, which can and should make it even more compelling.
And it allows you to build in a way that specifically supports that. If you're building an experience that is more like a place to visit than, a sequence of events that you must experience in one particular order, you can create something that is very successful on those terms.
But then you've got the interactive movie, of course, which blighted, people get very cross with me, but it sort of blighted the gaming elements that was in the sort of like the mid-90s.
You're thinking of like Dragon's Lair and things like that?
Dragon's Lair was an interactive cartoon, so that's slightly different. Night Trap Classic. Mm-hmm. And we were working with a particular publisher, I daren't name them, and they were run from Orange County. And the president of this particular company was very proud of the fact he'd never played a video game. Okay, I absolutely promise. And he lectured me at great length. Now, I had to listen because he was funding the game that I wanted to write. But I had to listen to him talking about how brilliant movies were and that actually what people really wanted to do was to watch interactive movies, which were interactive, and that got the best of everything. Mm-hmm. And there's a whole generation of people running video game publishers at that time who really had a contempt for the medium. It's sort of kind of interesting.
Maybe it's time we reevaluated Night Trap, Charles. It's time we took another look at those girls running around.
That have been kickstarted.
It was actually a game called The Daedalus Encounter, I think. That do you remember that one?
Yeah. Was that one of the Tex Murphy games? Or
No. Tex Murphy's brilliant. No. The Daedalus Encounter was...
Because they did have subtitles like that. It was Tex Murphy, something very sci-fi sounding. Could have been the Daedalus Encounter. But what was the...
Oh, it was just, I remember a Virgin, I can't even remember which actress it was, but they got sued because they hadn't airbrushed over a little bit of tummy that... So they had to. I probably shouldn't be saying this. I'm probably going to get sued. But they had to recall. They had to recall all the boxes and reissue them, having removed a little bit of what was perceived to be a slight bit of fat.
Interesting. Okay, this is One Life Left. We're a video game radio show, and that's Charles Cecil's Gossip Corner. We're going to have a couple of features now, and we'll be back with the letters.
Hello, I'm Sega Badawi and welcome to One Life Left Local News. A football manager is in trouble for telling a controversial joke to a player. The incident occurred at half-time in a match between the Donkey Kong All-Stars and the Parappa the Rapper Rovers. Sources close to this reporter have said that the manager, Cranky Kong, told a joke about plumbers going into space to the All-Stars' new winger, Waluigi. It is believed that Cranky Kong used inappropriate language but wasn't aware of the offence due to his age. Waluigi did not take any offence. A sanitised version of the joke is as follows. What chocolate bars do plumbers eat in space? Super Mario Galaxies. Thanks, and back to your usual programming.
Hello, I'm Cara Ellison, and welcome to Electric Dreams, a section of One Life Left where I write a Lonely Hearts ad for a video game character, put it on the internet, and then see what I can learn from the replies. From this I hope to gauge which game characters have the most attractive traits. This week I put up an ad writing as Alex Vance from Half-Life 2. Hi there, I haven't got much time here, but I wonder if any nice guys out there would be into going for a drink. I'm looking for the strong and silent type, a little nerdy if you like. I get crushes on scientific dudes a lot. I think glasses are cute. At work I mainly fix computers, and in my spare time I tend to fix a lot of friends' broken vehicles. I like using my hands and I'm good with machine type stuff. I'm pretty fit, I run when I can, and I like discussing the politics of our sinister overlords. Get in touch! Tune in after the break to find out all of Alex Vance's answers.
Thanks, Cara. Before that you heard Sega Badawi and the local news. Now it's time for the letters.
Messages and forward BCC One Life Letters.
It's hard to do the letters without Simon, isn't it? Because he's in charge of that bit.
But you got that little theme song that does so much of the work.
It does. Well, actually, the hard bit is printing out the letters.
It really is surprisingly hard.
I had to do that this week.
You did very well, though, Steve.
Yeah, unfortunately, I just picked up the wrong piece of paper for the letter that I was meant to read out, and it says this on instead.
I don't know what that is.
No,
it's
German. Something in German.
Did someone write to us in German?
It's about Louis Schaefer. Und jetzt ist Herr Louis Schaefer mit Nunhead Amerikanisch Rundfunk. And if that's rude, sorry. Who's first, Anne?
Steve, why don't you go first?
Okay. This is from regular correspondent Duncan Timney, who's been writing to us about the games he's tried to make his children play. Dear Amadeus the Wizard, Pontius the Knight, and Zoya the Thief, Edison and I have been playing Treen 2, another game I nabbed from a humble bundle sale. It works well as a two-player game with Edison on the gamepad and me on the keyboard. Eddie loves the Alice in Wonderland style world that plays with scale. There's huge screen-filling snails and streams of magic water that we need to funnel onto plants to make them grow. Physics-based puzzles have multiple solutions, and Eddie often comes up with solutions I hadn't thought of. For example, using the thief's grappling hook to hitch a ride on a wooden block that the wizard is levitating, in a situation where I was precariously trying to stack blocks instead. In fact, the wizard is my favourite character. He affects the physics most directly, but, as Eddie says, sometimes you don't know what to do, so I have to do it all, so I need to be the wizard. Thanks, Duncan.
Thanks, Duncan. Hello, team at One Life Left, says Rob. Is it just me, or was Watch Dogs the most interesting next-gen game coming out for the new consoles? Now it's been postponed into spring 2014. It feels as though the next-gen has as well. Batman Arkham Origins has been panned, and I'm still not done with Assassin's Creed 3 yet, because they will insist on putting those giant games out every year. So I'm not really in any rush to play Black Flag. I'm also well over Call of Duty and Battlefield, but then I thought the FPS genre was pretty much played out after Quake 3. It's been a pretty good year for video games anyway. Usually this time of year I feel swamped by games, but there's hardly anything I'm excited about this year, which I find surprising, especially with the launch of not one but two new consoles. Is there anything you guys are excited about coming out at the end of 2014, or are we really stuck in some kind of holding pattern until the next gen hits its stride next year? I guess that's 2013. And that's from Rob, who also has a podcast called Game Dumpcast.
What do you think, Anne? Are you excited about anything right now?
I'm so excited to be here.
Okay. I'm not sure that's what he was asking, honestly.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I mean, I saw the big ones that they were showing at E3, and I wasn't. But that's not really my kind of game anyway, is it?
Here's what I think. I think life gets much better if you avoid all of the hype for the next wave of things that are coming. If you just enjoy things as they are released and don't, build up expectation for them. So honestly, this might surprise you as the host of an award-winning, incredibly popular, worldwide radio show about video games, but I have no idea what's coming up. No idea.
Are we allowed, and are we allowed to do blatant plugs at this point?
Of course.
Yeah, go, Charles.
Okay, yeah, because I'm really looking forward to Broken Sword coming out. not only just because it's consumed my life for the last year, and it'll be great, and also it will be great. So on both. But anyway, that is my blatant plug.
I had no idea there was a new Broken Sword coming, Charles. I didn't have an idea.
Broken Sword 5: The Serpent's Curse. It's really good, you know.
Okay.
Steve, are you looking forward to anything?
Here's how excited I am about what's coming up. The thing I'm most looking forward to is an expansion pack for XCOM. There's going to be more XCOM, and you get to be a cyborg and fight enemy mans. I'll buy it.
Okay. Good. Well, there you go. I hope that's a recommendation that helps.
The only real recommendation of the whole lot of us.
Charles, what's your letter?
Mine is from John Lean. It says, "Dear," wait for it, who's it going to be? Charles.
What?
How did he know?
How did he know? Well done.
Charles, are you subverting the letters section?
Steve. It's to Steve. Yeah,
of course
I was
is.
lying.
Of course it is.
They're all to Steve.
Imagine.
Oh, no, some to you. None of them are for Simon. Why is that?
This one isn't.
Why
if I'm going to stand in for Simon, at least I want somebody to write me a letter.
You don't want to read the letters that people send to Simon.
Help me. I'm in an end... Do you know what, Steve? It's lacking a bit of tone of this.
Okay.
Help me. I am in an end-of-generation funk. I honestly can't be bothered to play my Xbox 360 because I know that my pre-order PS4 is a little over a month away. I've not even got an eye on any particular launch title as they all look a bit rubbish.
Wow.
Interesting. There's a theme to these letters, isn't there?
There is. It's next generation ennui.
But
no, the Wii U already came out.
Hey! Rigorous.
But knowing that it's out there is making my poor old 360 look shabby. I've even shrugged at a new Batman game. A Batman game, for heaven's sake. What would you suggest to fight this ennui? For the record, I've already done some Kickstartering. Much love, JJ Lean. Now, hang on. And also, sorry, I keep getting, but is the verb of Kickstarter to kickstarting or kickstartering?
Interesting.
Kickstarting.
I always say kickstarting, yeah.
I like Kickstartering.
But John has said kickstartering, which is kind of interesting.
One thing we've learned, you, Simon, is not to correct the listeners because they're the only listeners we have.
We love them so much.
Hang on. You told me there were tens of thousands of people who all tuned in.
They do tune in, but they tune out again pretty quickly.
Plus the millions who listen to the podcast. There's a PS from John Lean.
Okay.
It says, P.S. I mailed ages ago with an idea for a feature, but then got distracted, moving jobs and house and stuff. I'm still on it, though. So that's something to look forward to.
Okay, good.
That's good.
Great. Exciting. Ennui, well, we just kind of dealt with that.
Yeah.
We have no idea. But actually, seriously, the most uplifting thing I've found is to go out and just try and find little games that make you excited, small things that no one else plays. We talked about Puzzle Script last week on the show. There are brilliant, tiny, imaginative things on there you can play for free right now. There's tons of things on iOS and Android and on PSN. Brilliant things as well. I think you said Proteus is coming out soon, right?
Yeah, Proteus is coming out tomorrow, I think, on PS3 and Vita.
So I would use this time between AAA titles to investigate some of the smaller games.
I agree. Someone who made a small game.
Can we also give Sony a bit of a plug? Because Sony are brilliant at supporting the slightly off-the-wall titles.
They are.
And they've really gone on they've really gone and now are supporting a lot of indie developers as well. They're really getting behind indie developers. It's great. I think a lot of these big companies see that actually to have what you really want is a good mix of the major titles and then the indies, and you get a really interesting collection of games out there.
So there we go.
Really that's the second plug I've given.
Exclusive Sony distribution deal for Broken Sword 5 announced by Charles Cecil right there, apparently.
Steve, do you have a letter?
Yes, I do. Shall I read it?
Go for it.
Hello, Steve. Perhaps. I left off a couple letters there, but I think he meant to me. Plus the rest of the team and your count 'em two super special guests. Oh, there's referring to me and Charles. I understand that Steve from the Fullbright Company is on your show today. I can confirm this. I went to his talk at GameCity where he was being interviewed by Lucy Preble, and it was an interesting talk. I asked a question at the end regarding the game's Riot Girl soundtrack and how important it was that they had the soundtrack to fit the story. I got a good reply from Steve and thought no more about it. Brilliant. However, at the following day's Power Lunch, Keith Stuart asked pretty much the same question without crediting my expert questioning skills from Thursday. Could you ask Steve to clarify who asked the better question? And if it was me, should I now be the Guardian's Games editor? Cheerio, Ben. Wow. Okay, I'm just going to let it go. In my head, the initial answer was, they were both terrible questions. Neither of you get to be the game's editor.
Wait, have we just sacked Keith?
Sorry, Keith.
Oh.
On the upside, if anyone's looking for a job, the Guardian has an opening.
I mean, it was a horrible question for a conference, but for a letter, it was a brilliant letter. Brilliant letter.
They were both great questions, and I love talking about the soundtrack. Thank you, Ben, Keith, Steve, and Scantlebury, Charles, all the listeners at home.
If you've got more...
Anybody else I can thank?
If you've got any letters for us for next week...
Actually, we are the listeners, collectively.
You're listening right now
you are. Email
team@onelifeleft.com.
It's time for Science Officer.
Science Officer Update. After over 3 years floating in deep space, this human specimen was eventually recovered from a damaged escape capsule. The human male has since returned to active duty. He has experienced 57 days without incident. This, however, is day 58.
Science Officer's audio log. Oh God, oh God, oh God. They keep telling us these deep space missions are the tip of the spear, but I'd forgotten quite how this worked. We're engaged in combat right now after our ship collided with a Code 7 hostile. They're insectoid aliens. They hollow out asteroids. They install jump drives. And then they go pirating. They rammed us, breached the hull, and are running amok. Sure, it's an unorthodox ship, but I don't understand how we didn't detect it. I mean, we know how to avoid asteroids, right? That first assault was brutal, but we're down to skirmishes now, and I managed to recover some enemy cadavers. These are scary creatures. They scuttle, they scrape, but I reckon I know how to beat them. They're weak at the joints, and those vulnerabilities show up on the NUV spectrum. Their razor-sharp thorn lances may be black as night, but in NUV, their articulations glow like frickin' headlamps. Shoot them, and that's all she wrote. We had a full company of Marines on this bucket, and I need to tell them this vital info. But the captain insists I follow procedure and make an audio log. To be honest, I've never got on that well with any roughnecks on board, but still, it's a needless delay. I say to the captain, why can't I just brief them now, in real time, in person? I'll stand on a table, I'll use short words. But the captain says, in these situations, we follow protocol, and protocol says to record and submit an audio log for their helmet download stack. Yeah, I'm all for protocol, but sometimes you need to improvise, which is why I'm broadcasting this live to all our troops on the All Hail channel. Guys, switch your visor to NUV, blast those glowing beetle joints, and we might just make it out of here. Science officer, out.
You're listening to One Life Left on Resonance 104.4 FM. We're a show about video games. This is Midnight Drive by Ickerson, and before this, earlier in the show, you heard Close But No Cigar by Def Premium. And we've had some correspondence while we've been on air.
Yeah, we've had an update on the Keith Stuart, no longer Guardian Games editor.
I mean, what an exclusive.
Keith's been in touch. He's listening live.
So sorry, Keith.
Yeah, I mean, we can't really...
Wasn't us, it was our guest.
What's going on with our guests today, but so Keith has responded directly to Steve on his Twitter feed, and he's just simply said, "You are dead to me." So
this is turning into a real international incident.
Yeah, Keith, you'll always be our games editor,
but not a real one, because clearly that bit's over. That part of your life's gone.
And Scantlebury's Heart of Hearts doesn't pay very well.
Oh, it pays the worst.
But if, while The Guardian is gamesless, it's looking for some guys to step into the breach.
Yeah, I mean, hey, we're here. We can edit
I think we've demonstrated our talents today, haven't we?
Yeah,
Such a start.
Well. Pretty well.
Oh,
pretty accurately.
Charles.
Yes, Steve, yes.
How's the Kickstarter going?
The Kickstarter's great.
Yep.
Kickstarter's absolutely brilliant.
Because last year you kickstarted Broken Sword, didn't you?
Almost exactly.
Yes, kickstarted?
I'd say kickstarted. But Kickstartered. If John is right.
Yep.
John Lean. It's extraordinary because, like 10 years ago, as a marketing company, you'd have paid a marketing company a massive amount to get 15,000 of your fans and to be able to communicate with them on a regular basis. Now it's kind of flipped in a strange way, where we are delighted to communicate with 15,000 of our fans, and they
us too, Charles,
and they support the project in this way. So what's kind of interesting? I wrote my first game for the ZX81 back in 1981, so that was an awfully long time ago. And in those days, basically we'd sell little cassettes to people across tables, and it was really lovely to meet our fans, the players of the game. And then I think the term is it's the opposite of intermediated, so it's presumably mediated. But anyway, then publishers started publishing and retailers, and for many years we had no idea who our audience was. This has now opened it back up, so we've got a direct communication. And you get a lot of stories about misogyny and people slagging off. But the adventure community are wonderful. They're incredibly supportive. They're very supportive of us. We try and be extraordinarily honest and open. And so far, it's been a pleasure. And we're going to be shipping the game fairly shortly. I hope it'll exceed expectations. I'm very pleased with it. And it'll be an amazing experience. And hopefully, our backers will feel the same.
Is Anne in the game?
Well,
consistently
as a Pokemon.
Do you remember the Three Wise Men?
I do remember the Three Wise Men.
Do you remember that Simon absolutely insisted that there were going to be three wise men?
Interesting. All of them are Anne.
Well,
dangerous, but I like your style, Charles.
Yeah,
it's good.
Yeah, well,
and when's it coming out? Can't say.
Well, it's the thing is that when you work for a publisher, you have to start off at the beginning, a year and a half in advance, and name the date. Mm-hmm. And we've sort of been burnt. All we promised is that it's going to be before Christmas.
Okay,
and it's still going to be before Christmas.
That's exciting.
Are you going to wrap it up?
Oh, yes.
Like a little present.
Interesting. Is there going to be a launch party?
Oh, I hope so. Will you come? Will you come?
Yeah, definitely.
Can we have it here?
Yes.
Oh,
in the
fantastic.
studio.
Oh,
with the cocktails.
Cocktail naked hour.
Oh, wow. What a great idea. And can we invite lots of people as well?
So many people.
Of course we can.
Oh,
Brilliant.
Wow. That would be great.
And briefly, Steve, your game's out now, so you're done.
Yeah.
Forever. That's it. Just sit back, watch the coin roll in.
Made the one, just leave it out there.
Yeah.
Sit back,
what
relax.
happens next? I mean, do you have a sort of sense of emptiness now it's out in the world? Just, bleak, that's it. What now with my life? It's over.
I think you're projecting, Steve.
I am definitely projecting.
This sounds like the dark core of Steve Curran's soul to me.
Yes, that is One Life Left. No, really. I mean, what happens when a game's finished and done?
Yeah, we just put out a commentary mode for it a few days ago, so we added a little stuff to it. But now that we're done adding a little stuff to it, it is kind of like, I guess I'll go to England. Maybe go somewhere else after that. No, I think that we put the game out, and people have been really enthusiastic about it and have actually bought it and stuff, which is awesome, which allows us to take a little time and get a little bit of distance before we dig right into our next thing.
But you know that it would be very good if you put me in your next game.
Would it have to be consistently?
Consistently.
And are we talking as a Pokemon or as you?
I mean, I'll take either, but ideally as a Pokemon.
The Pokemon thing raises some interesting legal issues.
Fine.
If we couldn't pull
There's
a Pokemon
no legal
version.
issues about my face.
Wait, Pokemon.
Oh.
There's a joke there.
Can't quite get it.
So, Steve, before this goes, do you have a big audience in the UK? Or are you mainly American based, or European, or what?
We've had a really great response from England and from Germany. Your base as an adventure game designer, our game is sort of something between a first person game and a traditional point and click. And yeah, we've had a
cool.
great
And
response.
Do you find, because we love the Germans? The Germans love adventure games.
Yeah,
and they're brilliant. So, are you going to go to Germany?
I have never been to Germany, and I really want to.
Oh,
I don't
really
have
need
my
to.
tickets booked at this moment.
Go. I mean, I'm going to offend a million people, but go to Berlin.
Get out of here. Go to Germany now, says Anne Scantlebury.
Berlin is particularly cool. It's a really lovely city, yeah.
I will be there.
You're listening to One Life Left, a travel show on Resonance 104.4 FM, and this is Kara's Electric Dreams.
Welcome back to Electric Dreams. So the replies to my Alex Vance Lonely Hearts mostly revolved around how strong and silent respondents thought they were, but the only Gordon Freeman lookalike I found was a lovely man of Spanish origin with a beard and glasses. I think Alex would have considered a date with me, definitely. One person merely sent me a message saying he had an AMD motherboard and would like to know if I had a spare case. Is that a really elaborate come-on? As for some of the other replies, here are some nice ones. The Frenchman is waiting for you. Alex wonders, though, if the G-Man is waiting for her. I also keep up to date on the actions of our international overlords and feel that there is big trouble brewing. Don't we know it, pal? It depends if you feel you could put up with my beard, though. Dude, Alex loves a beardy man. I need a hand rebuilding my camper van. What? And finally someone who asked, can Can you install and run iTunes on an HP notebook running Windows 8? Does it work well? Any advice appreciated? Alex is not an IT service buddy. Call the support desk. Tune in next time for more Electric Dreams shenanigans.
Thanks, Cara. It's time for our reviews section. Simon's not here to dole out the reviews, is
Shall
he?
I just go first?
You might as well.
I'm going to review a game that I played in Nottingham that I don't think you're ever going to be able to play again. They just made it. You.
That was threatening.
You are never going to be able
I'm
to
going to
play
break
this
your
again.
fingers.
Yeah, I think they just made it because they could, and I don't even know who they are, but I'm going to explain the game anyway.
Great review so far.
Because it was super fun. So it was called Pillar.
Raffle pillar.
So it's you play a caterpillar. You lie on your back. There is a tent in the middle. I had Jonathan Smith on the other side of me.
Okay.
Lying, so our heads were nearly touching underneath this tent, and you're looking upwards, and you have a belt around you, and there is sort of a stringy thing attached to the belt, and this stringy thing controls the movement of your caterpillar on the screen, and you have to get as many apples as you can while the other caterpillar is trying to get as many apples as they can, and if you bump into the other caterpillar, you eat them and they become less long, and it's you're supposed to get more long than the other person. Caterpillar.
I want to note that Anne Scantlebury, she confided in me, she took a lot of psychedelic drugs at night.
I was just lying in a room. And it was really lovely. We played several games of it because I lost quite a few times and then I won, so we stopped. And there was like a little button on the side of the tent that you pressed as a power-up that would either make you invisible or make you go really, really fast. And I don't know who made it.
It doesn't sound like a traditional going around game.
Well, you were going around as a caterpillar, eating apples.
Okay.
So it was.
So it fits into your genre.
Fits into my genre.
Shoehorned into your genre.
Yeah.
I see.
And it was really nice. And you looked really stupid lying on the floor with your head in a tent, rolling around. 7 out of 10.
Okay, Charles, what have you been up to?
Well, as I've complained already, whinged about, the last year has been pretty much written off, so I'm afraid I'm going to have to go back a year. And I was lucky enough to be a BAFTA judge, and I can't even remember what category it was, but the games were just wonderful. So games like Thomas Was Alone and...
Made that guy.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
Yep.
The Room.
The Room we didn't make.
No.
But we could have done, 'cause it's just a room.
We're in a room.
Yeah, we've seen them.
Yeah,
Seen
I think you
rooms?
probably got inspiration from you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
And The Unfinished Swan, which was lovely.
Met those guys.
Yeah, and you probably made them as well.
No,
Fabulous.
Didn't
No?
Charles. We're not arrogant enough to assume we made everyone. Just Bithell.
But then I'm afraid this is so dull because it won all the awards, but it was so special, was Journey,
Okay.
which, its predecessor, Flower, was a really, really beautiful game. But Journey was even more special, and it was just joyful. And it had no instructions, and it put no pressure on you, and it was just a really wonderful experience. So because it was so good, I'm going to give it 7 out of 10.
Simon hates it.
Oh, well, he would, wouldn't he?
He bloody would. That's right.
You're not allowed to swear.
That's not swearing.
That doesn't count.
That's
Okay.
a part of the body.
Okay.
We're all full of
biology,
it.
isn't
It's
it?
biology, Charles.
Yeah. Wonderful, Simon.
Simon does because, it's not a game. You just
Really?
go around. Whereas Anne
Whereas I
loves
love
that.
going
and that is
around.
the friction that drives One
Interesting.
Life Left.
But,
Yeah.
but the thing is, it does have challenges. That's the point. So
Yeah.
all it needs to have is a challenge, and you go around, don't you? That's all you do, and you just have this.
Beautiful.
And then you meet people.
Sometimes
When you squeak
all
at them.
you need to do is go around. Talking
think-
of which, Steve, what game have you been reviewing this week? And is it a game?
I've been playing a game that is a game that you do more than go around in.
Ooh.
We don't like those, do we?
No.
You also do get to go around.
Oh, good. Maybe
Okay.
I like it.
You'll like it.
Okay.
So it's a game called Eldritch, which just came out on Steam about a week ago. It is a really crazy first-person, procedurally generated stealth roguelike Cthulhu game. It's got all the words, but it's really, really well done, and it's different every time you play. It's like Thief meets Spelunky, and it's just a small game. played a bunch of times. It's balanced so well. You basically you explore a dungeon that's different, every time you play the game, and you sneak up on fishmen and stab them. By a good friend of mine who I used to work with, so I really wanted to do well.
We should disclose
for
this.
that reason.
Yeah, no. We need to. We have some reviewing guidelines. So, what were you eating while you played the game, and was it provided by your friend?
Whiskey, no.
Okay.
Fair. Okay, I think.
Fair enough.
And
Anything else?
we've disclosed that there was
Full disclosure. You were having some whiskey, but was not provided.
And was that part of Naked Cocktail Hour?
Partially.
Excellent. Okay, continue.
I give it a 7 out of 10.
Excellent. Thanks all. Time for a little bit of more music. This is Void Part 2 by Cubby. Thank you all so much for tolerating One Life Left over the last hour. It's been pretty good though, hasn't it? Despite the lack of Simon. Stupid trains.
Or is it because of?
Wow,
Charles. Let's not be like that. Steve, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Do you have any URLs you would like to point people at?
I just love to say URLs out loud. If you want to check out Gone Home, you should go to gonehomegame.com. You can download it online.
In England, we call them Earls.
Earl of Internet?
Yeah.
Earls.
Yeah.
Duke of Internet?
Earls. You should definitely, everyone should definitely check out Gone Home. It's obviously
Brilliant.
Got One Life Left's highest score ever.
7 out of 10.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Fabulous work. Charles, anything you want to say that isn't libelous?
Well, or else I'm promoting my own game, so no, I think I better keep quiet.
That. This is your space
we'll
to
go
do
along
that.
to revolution.co.uk, check out what we're doing. I'm afraid our website's not looking great at the moment, but it will be very soon once we sort it out.
Especially if you're German.
Exactly.
You love the Germans, don't you?
I do.
And they love you.
I'm going to be there next week,
Special
actually.
relationship.
So if any of your listeners are out in Germany, then
take Charles drinking.
Then take me
For goodness
drinking.
sake.
Absolutely, yes.
Maybe that's our issue, and we should concentrate on a country, get them to
Yeah.
love us.
Who do we want to love us?
Can I be your special ambassador for Germany?
Definitely.
For Germany, yes.
Yeah.
Because clearly it's not England.
It's obviously not.
It's never
No,
gonna be
they don't
England.
need. I mean, everybody listens in England anyway. What they need
I
is the
see.
international reach. Steve, perhaps you could be the international ambassador for the US.
Ask me, maybe. I'll think about it.
And
It's
you
a
had
big
something
country.
to say.
Yeah, we've had just one more thing in from One Life Left's editor-at-large, Keith Stuart. It was by Edinburgh-based developer Lucky Frame, and you can play it again soon, I think. That was the Caterpillar game where you get to look like a fool.
Thank you, Keith Stewart, and good luck with your future employment prospects.
Really good luck, though.
We have been One Life Left. We'll see you next week when we'll have information on our Christmas party. But until then, goodbye.
See you, bye.
Thanks, bye.
Bye-bye.